Somewhere on the second floor, numerous viscous tentacles crawled on the wall. The blood-clothed evil spirit squinted, staring at the screen in the mirror on the first floor, her eyes full of coldness. Everyone, the doctor has arrived. Since you all want to see a public execution so much, today everyone can feast their eyes. In the field of vision, in a real-time image on the regional channel, the scene in the mirror appeared, and there were already 541 viewers. I feel it's not very good. After all, he is the apprentice of Bloodsaw. If he is killed now, when Bloodsaw comes back, it will be terrifying. The Queen wouldn't be afraid of this, right? Bloodsaw is a perverted serial killer, and his apprentice is a little perverted serial killer. Besides, a human being so arrogant in our ghost alley should pay the price. Evil Spirit Queen, how do you plan to kill him? In front of the mirror, the blood-clothed evil spirit smiled coldly, playing with her long hair, saying playfully, I won't easily kill him. If he's human, the best execution is to crush his spirit first, right? Don't you want to see his terrified face? I think it must be interesting. She turned her head and looked at the cute little girl sleeping soundly in the corner, her eyes instantly turning red. If she hadn't known that it was the mischief of that human guy, she might really have been fooled by that guy. Poor daughter, clearly could have become a powerful and twisted hunter, but now she could only be a cute and useless little girl. All of this was the fault of that guy. Turning her head abruptly, she stared at the mirror, saying, Everyone, this is a scene I carefully arranged. You can wait to see how he dies. Instantly, she pulled a tentacle that hung down from above. Creak, as if something had been triggered. Meanwhile, first floor, Lin yawned, sitting with his legs crossed in front of the chair, patiently waiting. Just at that moment, Lin suddenly heard the sound of chains behind him. Lin quickly turned around, and then he immediately saw that the corpse, which had been hanging upside down in midair just now and had been skinned and dried, was now all standing on the ground. Motionless, a strange and chilling atmosphere instantly enveloped the surroundings. Lin widened his eyes. He slowly turned his head, sitting up straight. Click, a sound echoed. He suddenly turned his head again. And then he immediately saw that the skinless corpses that were standing just a moment ago seemed to be closer to his position. Haunted, Lin raised an eyebrow. This time he didn't turn around, but stared directly at those skinless bodies to see if they would move. After a while, he blinked. In an instant, when Lin opened his eyes again, a skinless corpse silently appeared in front of him, its terrifying face less than 5 centimeters away from his. Lin widened his eyes, and his body stiffened as he leaned backward. Second floor. The blood-clothed evil spirit sneered, eyes flashing with satisfaction, watching Lin's stiff figure in the mirror. In the channel within view, various evil spirits were extremely excited. The blood-clothed queen is truly worthy. The way she creates a sense of horror is too strong. If I were that guy, I would probably be scared too. Yes, yes. Suddenly, all those skinless corpses coming to life, anyone would find it spine-chilling. He should be too scared to blink now. If he blinks again, his neck might be bitten off in an instant. The evil spirits excitedly discussed. Then they saw Lin carefully tilting backward, staring at the skinless bodies. Then he slowly reached out his hand, carefully reaching towards the mouth of the skinless corpse. What is he doing? The evil spirits were puzzled, not understanding. Click, under their astonished gaze. In the picture, Lin suddenly broke off a gold tooth from the mouth of the skinless corpse that was almost at arm's length. He wiped it, blew on it, and put it in his pocket. Blood-clothed evil spirit, burned ghost, blood doll. Instantly, the previously excited regional channel became silent. Everyone had a stunned expression. This doesn't make sense. This seems to conflict with their imagined development. What is he doing? In the regional channel, a message asked in a daze. Gold is precious in the human world, like a hard currency similar to skeleton coins. An evil spirit explained. But this explanation was not convincing at all. Look, he moved. Is he finally planning to escape? The evil spirits immediately stared at the screen. In the picture, Lin slowly emerged from under the skinless corpse's arm, staring with wide eyes without blinking. Then he went behind another skinless corpse, took out a bone-cutting knife from his waist, pluck, plunge directly into a certain opening. He stabbed it. Seeing this, all the dark creatures in the regional channel, who were observing, felt a tingling sensation below, a tightening, and a fearful expression appeared on their faces. Pluck, plunge, plunge. With every knife Lin wielded, all the dark creatures in the regional channel shuddered. Then they saw. In the picture, the young man stabbed the skinless puppet more than a dozen times from below. Then he turned around, staring wide-eyed, and walked to another skinless corpse. Pluck, same position, same knife. At this point, everyone in the regional channel was no longer calm. With every stab, Lin's audience shivered as if he were stabbing them, not the puppets. Something's wrong. Something's wrong. These puppets can't scare him at all. It seems like he's getting more excited with each stab. No, it's too torturous. I don't want to see this hair-raising scene. He's not afraid at all. Watching Lin target the next victim on the screen, blood-clothed evil spirit gritted his teeth and immediately gave the order. Get rid of him. Instantly, a corpse suddenly opened its mouth, emitting a terrifying and hoarse howl towards Lin. Lin's bone-cutting knife, which had just stabbed from below, went straight through its mouth. And in the next moment, in front of the countless spectators in the regional channel, Lin seemed invincible. One by one, fluently knocking them down, and each stab was in a very tricky position. In less than 3 minutes, dozens of skinless puppets were all defeated by him. Silence filled the regional channel. All the evil spirits stared at the screen, looking at Lin's handsome figure with the knife. Is this human so amazing? He killed them all, and he doesn't seem afraid at all. Why am I starting to feel scared? And just as everyone was staring in shock, they suddenly saw Lin quickly running towards the door. Instantly, the evil spirit's eyes lit up. He wants to run, but just as Lin disappeared from the screen for less than a few seconds, they immediately heard a series of buzzing sounds outside the screen. What is that sound? One evil spirit asked in astonishment. And in the next moment, they saw Lin quickly rushing in, holding a chainsaw like a maniac. Today, I'll chop you all up and feed my precious pet. Under the horrified gaze of everyone, Lin, with the chainsaw in hand, began a humane destruction of the skinless puppets lying on the ground. Terrifying scenes unfolding before the camera. Buzz, buzz, buzz. For a while, extremely bloody and horrifying scenes played out on the screen. I'm not watching. I'm not watching. It's too scary. He doesn't spare the corpses either. That's right. He did the same with a chainsaw yesterday. He's not a normal human at all. Queen, you can't treat him with the methods you use on normal people. When he saws people, he's even more ruthless than his teacher. In the regional channel, numerous messages flooded the screen. The blood-clothed evil spirit quickly turned off the screen. First floor. Ding. Blood Doll's attitude towards you has reached extreme terror. You gained 100 experience. Ding. Burn Ghost's attitude towards you has reached psychological trauma level. You gained 150 experience. Ding. The timid personality trait of long-haired Ghost has successfully changed to autism. You gained 200 experience. And so on. Ding. Your popularity in Ghost Alley has increased by 30. Lin, he, holding a chainsaw, turned his head in amazement, looking around. Something's not right. He just sawed some puppets. How did he suddenly gain so much experience? And what's the deal with those familiar names? Are they all in this room? Lin quickly looked around, searching every corner of the room with the chainsaw, but found nothing else. Strange. Lin shrugged in confusion, then cleaned up the scene. Nonchalantly sat on a small chair, took out a small bottle of old wine from his pocket, poured it into a high glass, closed his eyes, and started sipping. In the area channel, the numerous dark creatures finally regained their composure from the terrifying scene. I think this guy must have been trained long ago. And the way he just sawed people, that's definitely the result of being influenced by his perverted teacher for years. This guy isn't afraid at all. Exactly. I think making this guy collapse is definitely not an easy task. Blood-clothed evil spirit squinted and said, so what? Anyway, he is just a weak human. If he's not afraid of physical monsters, I don't believe he can be immune to elusive evil spirits. Whoosh. She forcefully pulled another tentacle hanging down beside her. Meanwhile, in the scene, Lin suddenly felt a cold wind blowing from his ear, making him shudder subconsciously. The flames on the 2 candlesticks on the table also flickered suddenly. Lin was puzzled. Putting down the glass, turning around to look at the dim surroundings, he asked, what's going on again? For some reason, the atmosphere around seemed to have suddenly become colder. And at that moment, suddenly, Lin's peripheral vision suddenly noticed that the eyes of the portrait hanging on the wall seemed to have moved. Lin quickly turned to look in that direction. Holding his arms, he took large strides toward the portrait on the wall. Lin observed in confusion. What he didn't notice was that in the darkness behind him, something was slowly approaching him step by step. The candle flames flickered, and at this moment, Lin suddenly felt a cold sensation on his shoulder, as if something was pressing on it. Lin almost subconsciously turned his head to look at his shoulder. Instantly, eye contact. The face of a ghostly girl with a pale, rotten face and blood flowing from 7 orifices stared at him almost at 0 distance. The air fell into an incredibly eerie silence. In the area channel, each dark creature watching the scene held their breath, staring wide-eyed, nervously watching this scene. Indeed, this kind of ethereal ghost is the most terrifying. If it were me, I'm afraid I would be scared to wet my pants if I turned around and saw this scene. Isn't this human's mental resilience supposed to be strong enough to not be afraid of such unexpected things? Everyone watched in breathless silence. In the scene, a brief few seconds of silence. Then, suddenly, they saw Lin winked playfully at the ghostly face on his shoulder. The crowd, no. And that ghostly face seemed to freeze, because it clearly felt that this human in front of it seemed to show no fear at all about its appearance. Lin closed his eyes, sighed, and said, "Don't bother. Are you also one of those actresses arranged by the lady? Tell her not to play these fancy things. Since I am a guest, if you treat me like this, I'm really in a difficult position." The ghostly face paused for a moment, then suddenly widened its eyes and emitted a terrifying scream towards Lin. Crack! Lin slapped the ghostly face crisply with the back of his hand. The ghostly face was directly restored to its original state by this sudden slap, looking completely dazed. Lin shook his hand, closed his eyes, and said, "Why open your mouth so wide?" In the area channel, "Wait a minute, something's wrong. Isn't that an ethereal ghost? How can he slap it so crisply? Can he even touch ghosts? There's a problem. There's a problem." In the scene, after Lin slapped the ghostly face back to its original form, he kindly reached out, grabbed the hair of the bewildered ghostly face, turned around, and instantly focused his gaze on a headless, translucent body about 10 meters behind him. Lin, again amicably, placed her head on the transparent body. Click, click, fixed her in place. "Don't toss your head around, and don't scare people casually. Be a quiet and gentle girl. Why bother imitating others to scare people?" Lin gently smoothed the decayed hair on her cheek. The ghostly girl stared at him stiffly, finally unable to restrain herself, and asked, "How did you touch me?" Lin immediately smiled and took out an empty potion bottle from his pocket, saying, "I am an alchemist. I deal with evil spirits all year round. If you don't often drink potions that can touch evil spirits, how can you perform surgeries on people?" The ghostly girl, Lin charmingly lifted her hand and said, "Miss, what's your name? Can I get to know you?" This suddenly charming inquiry caused the entire area channel to fall into silence. Everyone stared dumbfoundedly at the scene. It felt like things were slowly developing in a strange direction. Something's wrong. Something's really wrong. In the scene, the female ghost was instantly at a loss. Then she remembered the lady's instructions, quickly pulled her face, and tried hard to create a terrifying scene. Instantly, her face split open from the middle. "Aren't you afraid?" she finally couldn't help but ask. This feeling was like a comedian trying hard to tell various jokes to please the audience. But the audience had a deadpan expression, completely not cooperating with your intentions. It was very embarrassing. Then he helped her close her face, very much with the quality of a warm man. Lin approached her gently and charmingly, then slowly and forcefully grabbed her wrist, the corner of his mouth gently curving. In fact, scaring people is also a kind of knowledge. Seeing terrifying scenes may not break their defenses. You should go a step further. Let them see the terrifying things happening to themselves, so they can truly fear you. For example, Lin smiled gently, grabbing her wrist and slowly pulling her into his arms. Squeak! The sound of flesh being torn came from his clothes. A large amount of fresh blood instantly stained his chest. Feel something pulsating. Is it a bit warm? Is there blood flowing out? Yes, just as you thought. What you're holding now is my heart. In the area channel, everyone held their breath, watching the blood overflowing from his chest on the screen, and then looking at his face with a gentle smile. An indescribable sense of tremendous horror and terror surged in everyone's hearts. In the scene, Lin maintained the gentleness on his face, slowly grabbing the wrist of the female ghost, approaching her. And the eyes of that ghost were already trembling, showing a faint trace of fear. Lin whispered in her ear, "That's right, you have to slowly pinch the opponent's heart so that the target can clearly feel the fear of the heart being gripped tightly. Then you must let them see it with their own eyes, watching you dig their heart out of their chest." The ghost trembled, and her spirit tightened to the extreme. In the area channel, all the people were holding their breath, their hearts completely in their throats. And when you make them watch you dig their heart out little by little, the target's spirit has already been stretched to the limit. The ghost trembled, her spirit stretched to the limit. Lin slowly said, "And at this time, you just need to." Almost in an instant, the ghost directly exploded in shock. A look of incomparable fear appeared on her face. The entire area channel instantly exploded, and in various corners of Ghost Alley, almost at the same time, there were inexplicable screams. "I'm done. I'm done. I want to go home. Mom, someone scared me. I'm not watching. I'm not watching." The entire area channel was filled with ghostly cries and wolf howls. In the scene, Lin couldn't help but burst into hearty laughter, laughing so hard that he covered his stomach, tears streaming down. He took the heart of the faceless demon, who was already cowering in the corner after being scared, and blew on it, then put it away in his bag again. He gave her a thumbs up and smiled. How about that? The effect is very good, right? It's like this, you have to first heighten the opponent's spirit, and then suddenly create some terrifying sound effects and visuals, so that their spirits suddenly collapse. Only then can you achieve the effect of being caught off guard. Understood. The ghost curled up in the corner, shivering, said, I understood. Don't come over. Lin listened to the system prompts ringing in his ears, baffled, because this is not the first time this has happened. Almost instantly, Lin froze, because the system informed him that the residents of these ghost towns, he had seen all of them in the area channel. Could it be that his current situation here is being broadcast synchronously to the area channel? This is too outrageous. Lin's eyes suddenly looked around in suspicion, and in the area channel, various discussions had already exploded. Queen, evil spirit queen, I think this live broadcast shouldn't continue. This guy is not the kind of normal person who is easy to crack. He didn't crack open, but I'm afraid we're the ones who are going to crack first. Queen, your maid has already been scared to tears by him. This guy seems to have trained in this aspect. The blood-clothed evil spirit gritted her teeth, clenching her fists. Although she knew this kid had thick skin and wasn't a normal person, she didn't expect him to be so enduring. It seems she really has to take action herself. Otherwise, she would lose face in front of these little ghosts in Ghost Alley today. Snap. She slammed the table, gritting her teeth. The broadcast stops here. I'm going down to kill him now, and you guys just wait for good news tomorrow. Then she stood up suddenly, ready to turn off the mirror's voyeurism. But when her gaze fell on the mirror, she shivered subconsciously. Lin had obviously found the source of the voyeurism, and at this moment, he was standing on a small stool, curiously peering into the camera with one eye. Queen, it's up to you. Doll doesn't mind charging in directly. Restrain the neck first, beat them up, and then cut off the head. Skeleton demon, exactly. Don't give them a chance to open their mouths. Just snap it off to avoid future trouble. Long-haired ghost, is this a bit impolite? Crowd, long-haired ghost, oh, I was just talking nonsense. Evil spirit queen, rest assured, wait for my good news. By this time tomorrow, his head will be in the corner of my house, serving as my daughter's night pot. After saying this, the bloodied evil spirit quickly closed the voyeuristic mirror, squinting her eyes. Whoosh, tentacles surged out of her body, gritting her teeth. Her body instantly dissolved into a large pool of crimson blood, which gushed into the floor, heading towards the first floor. In an instant, the candles on the first floor began to flicker. On the ceiling, thick drops of sticky blood dripped onto the floor. In an instant, the viscous blood began to converge, transforming into the bloodied evil spirit with a cracked face. She looked around suddenly, but besides her ghost servant shivering in the corner, there was no sign of Lin. Where is that kid? Bloodied evil spirit gritted her teeth. Her gaze fell on her ghost servant, and he pointed to the wooden door leading to the corridor, saying, Master, he said he was getting impatient and wanted to find you personally. He just opened the door and went to the backyard. This brat. The bloodied evil spirit clenched her teeth, instantly transforming into a twisted and howling evil spirit, rushing towards the door. All the way to the backyard, she quickly searched among several buildings, but she couldn't find any trace of Lin. And in the next moment, her gaze suddenly fell on the shadow that flashed past the window of the second-floor attic. Her pupils contracted instantly. This guy, did he sneak into my boudoir? The bloodied evil spirit directly erupted. In the next moment, she leaped, instantly jumping to the window, and with a swoosh, she opened it. Then, she instantly saw a scene that broke her defenses. In the bedroom on the second floor, Lin was standing in front of the bed, holding the awakened cute baby in his arms, lifting her little ears with a look of innocence. The bloodied evil spirit was instantly stunned. Release my daughter now. With a long howl, the bloodied evil spirit, in a fit of anger, her tentacles, like ice cones, surrounded Lin, aiming at him. Lin instantly regained his senses, and his gaze fell on the angry woman. Madam, this isn't how you treat guests. You invited me to dinner tonight, but I haven't even seen your face downstairs except for a little scare. He picked up the cute baby, sighed, and said, This is really chilling. The bloodied evil spirit sneered. The expression seemed to say, I'm silently watching you show off. At this point, Lin took a deep breath, not bothering to pretend anymore, and laid his cards on the table. He sat on the bed, holding the cute baby, sighed, and shook his head, saying, Okay, I admit I did it. But, madam, you must understand, I really have no malicious intent. And, your daughter, when I delivered her, her face was too horrifying. She had pus-filled sores and burst open. As a just and righteous doctor, Lin sighed helplessly, if I don't correct it, when the boar demon really comes to claim the ghost baby that came out of her belly, Can I point to the child covered in pus and say, "Is this your daughter? She looks too broken." The bloodied evil spirit sneered and said, "Okay, continue making excuses. Let's see how long you can keep making them." Lin raised his hand in surrender, helplessly saying, "Okay, there are other reasons, and this time I'm telling the truth. Speak." First, Lin closed his eyes, raised a finger, and said, "I'm afraid of death. I fear that when your child completely breaks down, you'll take me out first. After all, this is an evil spirit." The bloodied evil spirit sneered. This excuse seems reasonable. Second, Lin raised his head, closed his eyes, and said, "I wanted to try my ability to see if I can mold a good-looking baby. So, I borrowed your child to gain some experience." The bloodied evil spirit grinded her teeth. What about the third? The third, Lin awkwardly said, "Of course, I also had a little thought that the boar demon might not come to claim the child. So I thought of making a cute girl and raising her to get married and have children." The bloodied evil spirit was petrified, directly stunned in place. Lin raised his eyebrows. "Just kidding. How could I, Lin, have such filthy thoughts? I just wanted to create a slightly more good-looking doll, pleasing to the eye, haha. Do you find it amusing?" The bloodied evil spirit gritted her teeth. Shaking his head, Lin closed his eyes and said, "Not funny." The bloodied evil spirit was about to be laughed to death and said, "I find it very funny. Should I tear your mouth apart now and let you laugh heartily? What do you think?" A calm smile appeared on Lin's face. "Madam, I think we should sit down and have a good talk. If you really want to kill me, I'm indeed not your opponent, but you have to distinguish between light and heavy matters." The blood-drenched evil spirit sneered coldly, and sharp thorns grew on its tentacles with a rustling sound, saying coldly, "Oh, is that so?" Lin remained calm and said, "First of all, I am a compassionate doctor. Similarly, I have many compassionate patients and customers. If I were gone, they wouldn't find me, and they would be very sad. For example, those two bald guys fighting outside the alley right now, they are my loyal customers and friends." The blood-drenched evil spirit squinted, sneering, "Is that so? Do you think I would believe your—" She didn't finish her words. Click, the sound of a safety being unlocked. Lin slowly pulled out a silver revolver from his pocket, smiled, raised it towards the ceiling, and said, "You should recognize this gun, right?" The blood-drenched evil spirit immediately shook, her eyes narrowing, saying, "The demon hunter's hunting revolver." She was very familiar with that braggart, the demon hunter. He always carried those hunting revolvers he brought from the upper world, extremely protective of them. How could this gun end up in his hands? Lin smiled, holding the gun, and said, "He's my kinsman and also a beloved uncle. He left this gun for me for self-defense. If I'm in danger, I just need to fire a shot, and he will immediately come to help me. And he's outside the alley right now, ready to come over. It won't take much time." Achoo! Outside the alley, one of the bald guys fiercely sneezed. The blood-drenched evil spirit narrowed her eyes, a glint of malice in her eyes. Lin smiled, put away the gun, and then took out a thin roll of hair from his pocket. "What's this?" the blood-drenched evil spirit asked coldly. Lin smirked and said, "This is a token my Black Knight uncle left for me. His personal chest hair, the longest and curliest one. My Black Knight uncle said that if I lightly flick it, he would sense it and come to help me immediately. If you don't believe it, we can try." The blood-drenched evil spirit was momentarily stunned, saying, Chest hair." Lin calmly said, "Exactly. You should be able to sense the aura on it. Today, my uncle came to see me. He asked me to cut his hair and left this token, warning me that if I encounter danger, just give it a flick, and he'll rush to my aid." Achoo! Another bald guy outside the alley sneezed, looking confused. The blood-drenched evil spirit's face was full of shock. Her gaze crazily flickered, hesitating, because what he said was indeed correct. She had fought that madman before, the Black Knight who was just like the demon hunter, a real show-off. Indeed, this human guy could open a shop in this monster-filled dark world without any trouble. There must be some connection here. No wonder he was so confident. Don't deceive me. Don't think I don't know. They are sworn enemies for centuries. If they have such an extraordinary relationship with you, why do they fight to the death every time they meet? Lin smirked and said, "Madam, can't you see the intimate relationship between us?" Achoo! Achoo! Outside the alley, the demon hunter and the Black Knight both sneezed at the same time. The demon hunter pointed at the Black Knight, angrily saying, "I knew I sneezed for a reason. It looks like you're cursing me in your heart. You're in big trouble." The Black Knight gritted his teeth, glaring at the demon hunter and said, "Stop talking nonsense here. Clearly, you're silently mocking and ridiculing me in your heart. I'll definitely beat you up today. In an instant, the two, both with bald heads, fought again, clashing with each other. In the room, the blood-drenched evil spirit tightly furrowed her brows, staring at Lin, momentarily not daring to make any reckless moves. Although she felt that he hadn't spoken a single truthful word, the chest hair and the revolver did have reasons to prove that his relationship with those two people was unusual. Lin smiled slightly, his elbow resting on the table, chin in his hand, looking calm and unruffled, saying, "By the way," Lin changed the subject, smiling slightly, then took out a small, crystal-clear object from his pocket, resembling white jade, and said, "What do you think this is?" The blood-drenched evil spirit's gaze instantly fell on the small white object in his hand, like tooth fragments. Instantly, her face changed, because from that small white object, she felt an indescribable and profound aura. "This? What is this?" Lin slightly raised the corner of his mouth, saying, "Unfortunately, madam, you should be familiar with the famous Abyss Headhunter, right?" The blood-drenched evil spirit's body shook, almost subconsciously taking a step back. Deep Abyss Headhunter. As a creature in the dark world, she naturally knew very well. It was a terrifying, origin-level monster that roamed various areas of the dark world all year round. Every time it appeared, it would devour countless creatures' lives and flesh. It was an existence that even the kings of the dark world, the supreme-level powerhouses, would absolutely avoid. And unfortunately, just yesterday, several gathering places of dark creatures near Ghost Alley were all completely eaten by those headhunters. She had just escaped from one of the headhunters last night. Could it be? Lin smiled, suggesting, "It seems you know." Then, take a guess. Why did so many creatures die around Ghost Alley? But only Ghost Alley survived this disaster. This is impossible." Lin stood up with a faint smile, saying, "Unfortunately, I am the favorite private dentist of that bounty hunter. She came to me last night for a dental checkup, and now she's an honored member of my clinic, taking great care of my business." Heta. In the dark world, few were timid and fearful, but when facing a monster at the root level, she really had to reconsider. Because when dealing with monsters of that level, if you truly aroused their hostility, they could find you using various methods, even if you hid in the upper world. Because there was a case where a king-level lord in the dark world offended a root-level monster, and within a day, all living beings in his territory were slaughtered. He ended up in a situation where no one dared to shelter him and was eventually chased to death by that root-level monster. And she never thought that this seemingly weak human had such a connection. Lin looked at her somewhat pale face, smiled, and held the cute child, saying, "Ma'am, judging people by appearances is not wise. Although my strength is indeed weak, having good interpersonal relationships is another manifestation of strength. And you really don't need to get angry with me." Lin stood up, patted her tentacle tips with regret, saying, "After all, we're neighbors. Between neighbors, shouldn't we show mutual care, help each other, and stay warm together? Moreover, you're such a beautiful and mature big sister." Persuasion +1. The blood-stained evil spirit's eyes flickered, grinding her teeth with a cracking sound. She could see at a glance that this guy was using both hard and soft tactics, doing something wicked and then sweet-talking to cover it up. But indeed, at the moment, she really didn't dare to take action. Putting aside whether his words were true or not, just the toothstone he took out with the aura of a root-level entity forced her to think twice. She screamed frantically, the waving tentacles hitting the surrounding walls with a bang, venting her anger and dissatisfaction crazily. Then, panting, grinding her teeth, she sat on the floor, the sound of teeth grinding clearly audible. This feeling of having nowhere to vent her anger made her extremely frustrated. "Ma'am, calm down first." Lin calmly held the cute child, saying, "Although 3/4 of what I said during the day was fake, not all of it was just to deceive you. While the notions of truth, goodness, and beauty may indeed be a bit absurd, I did see some qualities in you that other evil spirits lack. You little rascal." She swore she wouldn't believe a single word this guy said. If she could see through him, she would want to kill him right now. Lin took a deep breath, smiled calmly, and said, "I didn't lie to you, ma'am, because you have to admit. You care a lot about beauty, don't you?" The blood-stained evil spirit was stunned. Lin stood up, holding the child in his arms, smiling and looking around, saying, "Your room is beautiful, unlike the cold and nauseating rooms below. Obviously, you have carefully decorated your bedroom, giving a refreshing feeling to the walls, bed, and even the furniture. This is not something other evil spirits would do." Then he turned around, looking gently at the simple bottle on the windowsill with a white flower inside. "I've seen this kind of flower before. It's a rare non-toxic night lily in the dark world. It's not a rare flower, but is it normal for an evil spirit's room to have such a flower? Moreover, you seem to cultivate it quite flourishingly. On the windowsill, the crystal-clear white flower shimmered slightly, gorgeous and dazzling. The blood-stained evil spirit stared at the flower, then suddenly trembled, pointing angrily at Lin. Don't be slick with me. That's just, let's not talk about these things for now. Lin raised the corner of his mouth, hugged the cute child, and said, I really want to ask, if you find your child's current appearance disgusting, then may I ask, what's the story behind this beautiful dress and vest on the child? As soon as these words came out, the blood-stained evil spirit's gaze dodged, panic-stricken, saying, That's just something In the mirror, the pink dress on the child looked exceptionally cute, creating a sharp contrast with the filthy and nauseating world outside. And it was clear that there was no trace of dirt on it. There were even new threads. Obviously, it had just been woven. All right, don't deny it. It's all seen through. In fact, you also think your daughter is cute, right? When you're alone, you probably want to kiss and hug her, right? The blood-stained evil spirit's face instantly turned red, and she couldn't say a word. What's there to be ashamed of? This is a very normal display of affection from a mother to her daughter. Moreover, you've given her such a beautiful dress. Obviously, you are very satisfied with your daughter's current appearance. The blood-stained evil spirit blushed, unable to speak. But she had to admit, what this guy said was indeed correct. Compared to the twisted and decayed children before, she really preferred the current relatively normal and cute child. But being said so directly by this guy made her feel extremely embarrassed. With a gentle expression, Lin said softly, Ma'am, I have always believed that a person who likes to pursue beautiful things must have a beautiful heart. This can explain the essential difference between you and other evil spirits. And I believe that even in the human world, you must be a very lovable girl. Listening to Lin's increasingly gentle voice, although she kept telling herself forcefully that she shouldn't believe every word this human said. For some reason, she felt her heart pounding. She bit her teeth tightly, gazing at the wall beside her. But in her mind, the words Lin said kept echoing. Because those words, indeed, touched the softest part of her heart. She had always been thinking, what if she hadn't died? If she were still the girl in the human world, would she now be surrounded by children and grandchildren? Would she be able to watch her daughter grow up, get married, and have children? But every time she looked at her distorted face in the mirror, that terrifying appearance kept telling her, you're already dead. You're just a twisted evil spirit now. A demon. Ding. Triggered mission. Resolve the grudges of the blood-stained evil spirit. Current progress 11. First stage mission reward 500 skull coins, 500 basic experience. Special reward X1. Madam, I believe you don't like your current appearance, do you? If you're willing, I might be able to truly turn you back into a human appearance. Don't joke with me. Don't think that by fixing the shape for my daughter, you really think highly of yourself. That's just because my daughter is still in the juvenile stage, and the evil spirit curse inside her hasn't formed yet. You probably haven't seen the true form of a real evil spirit. In an instant, accompanied by the distortion of bones and flesh, her body kept cracking, expanding, and her graceful figure began to grow one rotten hand after another, continuously squeezing out sticky and foul-smelling rotten flesh. In front of Lin, the blood-stained evil spirit gradually swelled and twisted into an indescribable monster. Countless faces emerged on her body. Each one was filled with malice. It was like a terrifying conglomerate forcibly pieced together from countless human bodies after being crushed in a meat grinder. Lin's ears were instantly filled with countless hoarse voices whispering maliciously, "This is my true form. Do you still think you're confident now?" A drop of foul-smelling mucus fell to the ground. The long, twisted neck, like a snake, supported the woman's head, which appeared malicious and sneering, hovering in front of Lin. Wow, the cute child in Lin's arms cried directly from fear. Lin stared blankly at the unnameable monster in front of him, unable to say a word for a while. The blood-stained evil spirit sneered and grinned. Curses, pain, resentment, these are what turned me into what I am now. Do you really think you can dissolve it with your scalpel? The mocking and icy voice echoed in Lin's ears. But at this moment, Lin quickly calmed down, showing no sign of panic. He quickly caught the key word in her words. If this was the cause of her current state, I have a way, Lin calmly said. The expression on the blood-stained evil spirit's face instantly froze. Lin stared at her, reached out and touched her serpent-like neck. Almost instantly, he activated his curse diagnosis ability. Almost at the moment of hearing the diagnosis, Lin suddenly raised his head and said, "Activate the limited curse removal ability." Almost at that moment, the blood-stained evil spirit widened her eyes, seeing that the hand touching her neck emitted boundless light. and those lights, like soft lines, quickly surged into her body. She immediately felt the curse inside her body, under the influence of those halos, slowly peeling away. She was shocked, her expression unbelievably blank. And just under her gaze, countless twisted black lines were rapidly peeled away from her body by those lights. Her pupils suddenly dilated, as if someone had drained her all at once. She felt the curse being peeled away, felt the pain and distortion gradually moving away from her. She let out a long howl of pain, and in the next moment, her shattered and twisted body gradually disintegrated in the light, revealing a fair and slender figure on the bloodstained and broken ground. Splash, the light gradually dissipated, and a black and hideous rune appeared on Lin's palm. That was the evil spirit curse he had removed and collected. With the dissipation of the light and the restoration of vision, Lin's gaze immediately fell on the pure white figure on the floor, amid the foul-smelling blood stains and minced meat. The long curly hair fell like a waterfall, stunningly beautiful. The curse has been temporarily removed. Lin smiled, his expression unchanged. On the floor, the blood-stained evil spirit stared blankly, lying there. She slowly sat up from the ground, her eyes reflecting her slender hands, turning her head dumbly, looking at herself in the mirror. For a moment, her mind went blank. This, impossible, she muttered to herself, tremblingly reaching out and putting her hand on her cheek, because she felt it. This was her body, no longer the disguise formed by the aggregation of flesh and blood. This was her true self. And the empty feeling in her body, the evil spirit curse that had tortured her for hundreds of years, seemed to have never appeared before. Gone. What did you do to me just now? She murmured, as if living in a dream. Lin smiled with a baby in his arms, saying, I already told you just now. I helped you remove the evil spirit curse in your body. Do you still think I'm deceiving you, madam? Lin pretended to be very cool. The blood-stained evil spirit stared at her reflection in the mirror. Her perfect and flawless body made her feel like she had just experienced a terrible nightmare. You really, she finally, unbelievably, crawled up from the ground. The curse of the evil spirit for hundreds of years was actually so easily taken away by this human youth. She forcefully grabbed her own hair, closed her eyes, and let out uncontrollable, excited screams one after another. She became incoherent. She didn't even know what language to use to describe her current excited and complicated feelings. Lin stared with wide eyes, standing in place, looking at the woman who suddenly seemed to have gone crazy like a sheep with rabies. System, is the curse really cleared? Cleared? But why do I feel like she's even crazier than before? After shouting incoherently for a while, the blood-dressed spirit, as if in a daze, sat on the ground, covering her face, and said, I'm sorry, can you please leave? Let me calm down first. My emotions are a bit tumultuous right now. Lin stared, nodded up and down, indicating understanding. Then he quickly carried the cute child, pushed the door open, and walked out. Downstairs, Lin sat restlessly, holding the cute child in his arms, feeling a tingling sensation on his scalp. He had been waiting here for almost half an hour, and since the completion of the mission prompt, every minute he heard a prompt in his ear, and just a few minutes ago, the favorability had already surpassed the 300 mark. But he didn't know what psychological changes the blood-dressed spirit had undergone upstairs. Nevertheless, with so much favorability, he was sure he could safely get through tonight. Although the process was very complicated, the final result clearly developed in a positive direction. And as long as he got through tonight, when his teacher came back tomorrow, he wouldn't have to be so anxious. After all, his teacher's strength was absolutely top-notch. And at this moment, a fair hand slowly pushed open the door. Then a sweet and charming voice came from inside. Sorry to keep you waiting. Lin immediately raised his head and looked towards the direction of the door. Under the dim candlelight, the woman in the red dress pushed open the door. She still had the curly hair and a mature blush on her face as she walked out gently. At that moment, when Lin saw her, he couldn't help but give a thumbs up. Compared to the previous disguise, after removing the curse, she became even more beautiful and real. Under Lin's gaze, the blood-dressed spirit, with a slightly red face, sat across from him. Unlike the sarcastic and mocking face before, the current blood-dressed spirit looked like a charming young woman next door. I'm sorry. She lowered her head to Lin, covering her burning cheeks, and said with a slightly red face, I apologize for my previous rude behavior towards you and the ill intentions I had towards you for a while. I really feel ashamed, and I didn't expect that you could really remove the evil spirit curse inside me. Speaking of this, Lin immediately raised a finger seriously and said, I only temporarily removed the curse for you. You must understand this. It's not permanent. The curse removal lasts for about 24 hours. If you don't do it again after 24 hours, you will return to your original state. This point, Lin had to make her understand. As a doctor, integrity is essential. Of course, the most important reason is that if he doesn't explain it clearly in advance, after a day, when she returns to her original state, she might think he deceived her and then take revenge. The blood-dressed spirit also was startled and said, only 24 hours. To be honest, after the torment of losing the evil spirit curse, in this half hour, she felt an unprecedented relaxation. But just thinking about the hundreds of years before, she couldn't help but shudder, so much so that she really didn't seem to want to return to her previous appearance. Lin nodded solemnly, but seeing the disappointment on the blood-dressed spirit's face that was about to show, Lin changed the subject and closed his eyes, saying, however, although that's the case, I can help you remove it again every 12 hours. In other words, it's not impossible to make it permanent. Really? The blood-dressed spirit's eyes lit up. That's right. Lin smiled slightly, raising his thumb, and said, and we are neighbors. Living so close, if you want to maintain your current appearance for a long time, you just need to come to me for treatment every day. And as neighbors, I can also give you an 80% discount. 80% off. The blood-dressed spirit supported her cheek, smiling and looking at Lin, saying, do I still need to pay? Lin immediately rubbed his shoulder, showing a slightly weak expression on his face, and said with a wry smile, Miss, to be honest with you, although the process of removing the curse seems simple, it's really energy-consuming. It seems that in the relationship between neighbors, I can indeed give you a few free sessions. But afterward, you still have to pay. After all, we are running a small business. Lin didn't believe she really had no money. After all, someone like the Dark Knight Demon Hunter probably used Dark Skull coins, indicating that they were from a wealthy family. But Lin set the price not too high. After all, this is a long-term business, and it's all about a steady stream of income. I don't have money. Lin was stunned. Miss, are you kidding? Lin couldn't laugh or cry and said, with your strong existence, how can you not have money? Don't lie to me. The blood-dressed spirit, with a smiling face, rested her cheek on her hand and said, really no money because in the past, whenever I wanted something, I just ate the other party directly, which was convenient, so I never needed to trade and didn't have any money. Lin was sweating profusely and said, no money. Then other things are also possible. As long as the price is right, anything can be used for trade. Really? The blood-dressed spirit raised her eyebrows prettily. Whether it's body parts, herbs, cursed objects, or even corpses, I'm willing to trade as long as the price is right. But at that moment, Lin suddenly felt a fragrance approaching. Suddenly opening his eyes. Her nose was less than a centimeter away from him. Her lips moved slightly, and a teasing fragrance came to his face. With seductive eyes and a breath like an orchid, she said, so, how much do you think I'm worth? She gently extended her slender fingers, pulling on the straps on her shoulders, causing her fair skin to dazzle. The charm emanating from this mature woman was like a poison, tightly gripping one's eyes. Lin widened his eyes. Subconsciously, he tried to move back a bit. But it quickly became ineffective as her enchanting face approached even further. Danger. Lin struggled to calm himself and said, Miss, please restrain yourself. The blood-dressed spirit's red lips moved slightly, and she softly said, you called me sister before, didn't you? Don't you think that sounds better? Hiss. A cool breeze surged into Lin's chest. He immediately felt like he had just climbed out of one pit, only to fall into another. Lin tried to compose himself and said firmly, in our shop, we don't accept payment in flesh. Really don't want it. This is a very good body, just freed from the curse and untainted. Do you really not want to? Give it a try. She gave Lin a seductive smile and a teasing look. Lin swore that this female ghost was definitely a master at enchanting hearts. And for a naive teenager like him, this was not a level playing field at all. Lin stiffened. Really, don't you want to give it a try? The blood-dressed spirit continued to enchant. Lin stiffly said, your child is still watching. The blood-dressed spirit's mouth curled up slightly, and she whispered in his ear, fine, let's go to my room. Thump, thump, thump. Lin could hear his own heart pounding. After all, for a teenager who had transmigrated into such a mysterious world, this level of temptation was beyond what ordinary willpower could handle. I won't do it. The evil spirit in blood was stunned. Won't? Which aspect does it refer to? Has such a smooth-talking and handsome boy never done anything fun with a girl before? Because if this was placed in the human world, he would definitely be a scumbag boy who could easily deceive girls. The blood-clothed evil spirit looked strange and said, have you never been intimate with a girl? Lin En closed his eyes and did not answer. You haven't been kissed either. Black lines appeared on Lin's head, grinding his teeth. Seeing Lin endure the embarrassment, the blood-dressed spirit's mouth slowly revealed a strange smile. Her eyes seemed to light up, like a big bad wolf seeing a cute little rabbit. Is that so? She lightly licked the corner of her mouth and, near Lin's ear, laughed softly. Then I will teach you step by step, practical teaching. Stage achievement. Host successfully takes the first step from adolescence to manhood in a green but solid manner. Host gains permanent attributes, Constitution +1, Endurance +1, Stamina +1. The soul lamp at the door ignited, marking the arrival of a new day. Lin buttoned up his clothes one by one, maintaining a calm expression on his face. However, his eyes, still crazily jumping behind closed lids, betrayed the lack of calmness in his heart. Indeed, he couldn't hold back. As for how he spent these few hours, it would be better not to mention. Remember to wait for Sister tomorrow night. Sister still needs you to come to the shop for proper treatment. A charming voice came from his ear. Lin didn't even dare to turn around, because he was afraid that after seeing those mature and charming eyes, his recently restored sanity would be taken away again. I'm going back now. Lin coughed. That voice softly sounded in his ear. After helping Sister remove the curse, Sister will teach you new knowledge. It will definitely be more in-depth than before. Lin quickly left. Behind him, the woman with blood-stained clothes hugged her chest, gracefully lifted her curly hair, and hung a smile on her face. Then, like a magician, she pulled out a mirror, gazing at her reflection in the mirror, and stared at herself in a daze, immersed in the joy and excitement of being freed from the curse. On the road, Lin quickly opened his attribute panel. The twisted apprentice of the Bloodsaw apothecary. Beneath the innocent exterior lies a heart that spreads fear. Has caused significant psychological trauma to multiple customers and incited two high-level creatures into drug-induced madness. Despite having some reputation among the root monsters, still struggles to change the narrative of deceiving virtuous women and forcing flesh payments. What kind of messed up introduction is this? How did I become a twisted pervert in their hearts? How did I start spreading fear? And what's with the nonsense about deceiving virtuous women and forcing flesh payments? Clearly, it was my first time being dangerously seduced. I was the one who was lured. And why is the blood-dressed spirit considered a virtuous woman? Lin, with a dark face, vented his frustration. After that, as usual, he distributed all his attribute points into Constitution, although the other aspects had their advantages. But in any case, endurance was the best advantage in this dark world. And after his Constitution became powerful, other abilities would also have subtle improvements, such as stamina and endurance. Even the force of a punch would noticeably be stronger than when his Constitution was weaker. And now he had reached level 9. That meant, as long as he leveled up once more, he would meet the system's job change requirements. Lin hesitated, sitting at the counter and tapping on the table. After his teacher left in a hurry, saying he would be back within 2 days, it's already the 3rd day. And his teacher still hasn't shown up. Lin couldn't help but suspect that there might be something fishy going on. Maybe something delayed him. Lin remained calm. Enter. Accompanied by a nauseating feeling, Lin suddenly opened his eyes, and once again, the vast square appeared before him, along with the giant eyeball on the square. He had returned to the vision. Let's see what they're talking about. Lin quickly opened the area channel to see if he could gather some information. Queen, how's the situation going? Did that human apprentice die miserably? Has his head been twisted off to serve as a night pot? Queen, please tell us in detail. We're very eager to know the details. Queen, are you there? Has that guy who dared to bully your daughter been decisively dealt with? Queen, you've appeared. How is it? Did that guy receive the punishment he deserves? Evil Spirit Queen, made me very comfortable. In an instant, silence filled the area channel. What do you mean by very comfortable? Evil Spirit Queen, yesterday I was too impulsive. He is indeed a very capable doctor, and I shouldn't have treated him with such rudeness. But I also didn't break my promise. Since I said I would eat him, I will definitely eat him. But it's just in a different way. Evil Spirit Queen, I won't talk anymore. He was too intense, I need to go sleep well, goodbye. What do you mean a little swollen? Explain it clearly. And what is the different way you're talking about? Why does it feel like some strange and indescribable things happened last night at the Queen's house? Queen, explain it a bit more clearly. What's going on with that guy? Queen, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Did that human guy not only not die but also conquer the powerful evil spirit Queen? Crack. Lin closed the area channel at an unimaginable speed, staring wide-eyed, cold sweat pouring down like a heavy rain. The evil spirit Queen is too open-minded. Why can she casually talk about everything? Lin forcefully shook his head. Although some ambiguous games were indeed played last night, it definitely didn't reach the level of a full-blown affair. Absolutely not. Lin forced himself to calm down, closed the area channel, decided not to think about those strange things anymore. Lin began to carefully explore the other functions of the vision. After all, the vision might become another direction for his future development. If he could open a modern-style online shop, it would be even better. Soon, Lin roughly understood some basic functions of the vision, and after understanding it, Lin became more and more suspicious whether the so-called Supreme Will is really from the same place as him, because many elements are really too similar to online games. First, in the vision, all creatures can release information to the outside. You can charge for it, but when publishing information, you need to submit a portion of skeleton coins as a fee. You can publish in your area, choose full vision, or a larger area, but it requires corresponding permissions and higher fees. In addition to each square's corresponding, there is also a larger range, and the largest public. Yes, it's precisely because of the words that makes Lin highly doubt the composition of this vision. Because the style doesn't match. You can spend some skeleton coins to register your own shop and identity in the vision, but you need to charge 1 black skull coin every day. Yes, a whole 1,000 skeleton coins a day. In addition to trading in the vision, you can also accept various tasks posted by creatures and receive rewards in skull coins. It can be said, this vision has almost formed an independent economic system. If not for the fact that the vast majority of creatures walking in it are dark beings, he would even think he had logged into a large online game. And 6. It is also the most fascinating point that Lin discovered. In the vision, there is also a place distinct from other areas called, according to the introduction, it collects prayers and sacrifices from various worlds on the surface, transmitting them in real time to the dark world. And as long as you meet the conditions, you can sign a temporary contract with a creature on the surface, allowing you to descend into the world where the creature resides in the form of, complete the contract, and thereby receive the sacrifices offered by the creature on the surface. If that's the case, Lin pondered, would there be prayers from Earth? If so, could I use this method to go back home? This is indeed a very tempting thing. Because for a teenager in his teens, away from home for 2 years, still in such a dark world, saying he doesn't miss home is definitely a lie. But Lin is not in a hurry. He still has other things to do now. Teleport, trading area. Lin clicked on the rune on his hand, and in the next moment, a shimmering hexagram magic array appeared under his feet, and his figure disappeared in an instant from where he stood. Once in the trading area, ads kept flashing in Lin's eyes like an overwhelming bombardment. A twitch appeared at the corner of Lin's mouth because it was truly absurd. It felt like opening a webpage only to be bombarded with hundreds of ads, an information overload. However, Lin paid no attention. Upon entering the trading area, new functionalities appeared in the rune on his wrist. Shop teleportation allows direct teleportation to the space where a specific shop is located by entering the corresponding number and name. Shop creation, costing 10,000 skeleton coins, one can establish their own shop in the vision. Formula trading allows access to specific high-value item trading areas for auctions and purchases. Without hesitation, Lin clicked on shop creation. His current stash of skeleton coins had exceeded 30,000, enough to create his own shop in the vision. He entered Bloodsaw Apothecary and the address of the Soul Alley, then clicked submit. But in the next moment, he received a notification of duplicate information. Lin pondered, could it be that my teacher has already created a shop with the same name in the vision? Teleport, Bloodsaw Apothecary. Without further ado, Lin entered the corresponding name and initiated teleportation. Accompanied by a shimmering blue light, Lin abruptly opened his eyes and found himself in a small independent space of less than 50 square meters. Above the shop in front of him were several large characters, Bloodsaw Apothecary. Lin immediately noticed the iconic Bloodsaw symbol next to the apothecary's name. Yes, it was undoubtedly his teacher's apothecary, as the Bloodsaw symbol was his teacher's exclusive mark. Lin raised his head, looked at the empty storefront, and subconsciously reached out to push the door. Instantly, a row of blood-red words appeared before his eyes, authorization not detected. Please enter store command. Command? Lin hesitated, stroking his chin and mumbled to himself, so you can set a password. But since it's my teacher's shop, he shouldn't mind if I enter, right? After some thought, Lin decided to give it a try. Although he didn't know his teacher very well, after spending so much time together, he knew some of his habits. Jacked muscles man. Command error, access denied. Single for 200 years. Command error, access denied. My cutest disciple. Command error, access denied. Lin frowned, thought for a moment, and then with a deadpan expression, uttered, I love Luo. Correct command, access granted. Click. The door of the shop slowly opened. Lin muttered, indeed, using this sinful preference as a command, the same as the safe code. Lin smoothly entered the shop. After entering, Lin confirmed that this so-called vision was indeed far more expansive than typical virtual worlds. It allowed real-world items to be incorporated into this realm, a highly efficient piece of dark technology. However, the shop didn't contain anything particularly rare, and the potions stored here were not much different from those in the small shop. But it seems like regular maintenance has been ongoing, Lin noted, as he discovered 4,000 skeleton coins reserved for daily shop deductions. To his surprise, there was also a log that Lin could check in the shop in the vision. He browsed through it and found entries like, 90th day, sold a full set of adult cursed demon organs, income, 5 black skull coins. 93rd day, sold a hell contract demon head skull X1, income, 1 black skull coin. 95th day, rest day. 97th day, sold soul biting eyeballs X2, income, 2 black skull coins. Going through these records, Lin's eyes widened. Teacher really likes to engage in some side businesses, because Lin vividly remembered that around the times mentioned in the logs, his teacher would return carrying several blood-stained bags, heading straight to the operating room. Lin often heard the sound of chopping meat from inside, so the apothecary was just a front. His teacher's actual source of income was selling the organs of these monsters. Lin took in a sharp breath. Still, it also gave an insight into his teacher's strength, as the monsters sold in the logs were undoubtedly powerful creatures. Continuing to scroll, Lin's gaze focused on a particular entry. 105th day, a friend from the Demon Association found me, inviting me to the Hanging Tower to investigate some strange occurrences within the association. I've been out of the Demon Association for 10 years now, and it's strange for them to come looking for me. Lin checked the timestamp. This log was edited 3 days ago. It seemed like this was the reason why his teacher left 2 days ago. Hanging Tower, Demon Association. Lin contemplated. It seemed like an organization within the dark world, and his teacher was once a member. However, he wasn't well versed in it, as his teacher, being a quiet master, had no reason to reveal more. Lin shook his head. But since it's an invitation from an old friend, there shouldn't be any unexpected situations. Lin closed his eyes. Soon, he pushed these thoughts aside because, for him, the most crucial thing now was to earn money, promote, and build a reputation. With such a vast platform like the Vision, Lin intended to leverage his advantage as a transmigrator. He quickly left the Vision and went straight to the backyard, swiftly preparing the various materials for potion brewing. If he wanted to develop in the Vision, the most important thing was to have enough marketable products. The Critical Strike Potion and Blood and Flesh Growth Potion in his hands were both unique recipes obtained from the system, especially the Critical Strike Potion, which had proven to be an excellent potion for enhancing combat capabilities. Lin believed that these 2 potions would surely have a broad market in the Vision. Lin roughly listed the materials for the Critical Strike Potion. While some were relatively common, the primeval-grade biological tissue, he only had some tooth fragments left from the headhunter after the last batch. Still, it should be enough to brew around 30 bottles. For large-scale production, he would undoubtedly need more raw materials. But for now, it was more than sufficient. Without further ado, Lin immediately brought the materials to the alchemy room and began brewing the Critical Strike Potion. Bubbling, igniting the fire, setting the cauldron, and brewing. Ding, you've brewed 1 Critical Strike Potion. Ding, you've brewed 1 Critical Strike Potion. With the system prompts, 2 hours quickly passed. Lin's hands now held 30 bottles of yellowish-red potions. Quickly packaging the potions with a smile on his face, Lin once again spent 500 skeleton coins to teleport into the Vision. Everything was successfully completed, and now, the most important thing was to sell the potions in his hands. A bit more expensive, selling at a price of 3,000 skeleton coins per bottle. He believed that as long as someone tried his potions, they would definitely become repeat customers. So, the most crucial thing now was promotion. Without further ado, Lin directly opened the rune on his wrist and edited the content for information sharing. Bloodsaw Potion Shop. Extremely powerful Critical Strike Potion now available. After use, it significantly increases attack strength. 3,000 skeleton coins per bottle. Limited to 30 bottles, fair price. First come, first served. Exclusive. No other branches. Hurry and buy. Click. Skeleton coins minus 1,000. Information shared successfully. Lin smiled, feeling a sense of anticipation, and quickly switched to the trading channel. Looking at the shared information, Lin had a feeling that countless customers would soon be breaking down the door. Half an hour later, Lin sat in front of the counter, closed his eyes, a curve on his lips, and glanced at the empty outside of the store. Normal. Perhaps the promotion's effects hadn't manifested yet. It had only been half an hour. He needed to wait a bit longer, and soon customers would come. Or maybe he could spend another 1,000 skeleton coins to promote a bit. 2 hours later, Lin furrowed his brows, arms crossed, pacing back and forth in front of the store. How come there was no one? He had advertised 3 times. Shouldn't at least one person be interested in clicking in? Don't be anxious, he could wait a bit longer. Haste makes waste. 3 hours later, Lin stiffly leaned on the counter, spiderwebs accumulating on his head, a vacant expression on his face. He had spent a total of 5,000 skeleton coins, pushing the promotion 5 times in a row. Could it be that not a single person was willing to click in? Money was flowing out like water. Slap. Lin slammed the table. This is what you forced me to do. I didn't want to use this, but it seems I have no choice. Gritting his teeth, Lin quickly opened the information sharing interface and edited a paragraph. Shocking. The secret to making macho men thicker and stronger. Top-tier demon hunters' enthusiastic recommendation. The potion that makes succubi blush and queens unable to endure. 1 bottle, explosive. 2 bottles, soaring to the heavens. 3 bottles, powerful like a bulldozer. Want to be a towering true man? Click now, Bloodsaw Potion Shop. Click, promote, not playing around. Damn. Lin quickly burst into action, continuously editing over a dozen anonymous messages on the trading channel at the price of 100 skeleton coins each. Wow, the critical strike potion from Bloodsaw Potion Shop is really amazing. After my boyfriend took it, he couldn't handle it anymore. No way, such a treasure-level potion shop, how can it be shared so casually? And 1 bottle only costs 3,000 skeleton coins? Wow, so cheap. What if it gets bought up all at once? Stop posting. Keep the potion price low. Can't you keep it quiet? Let oneself quietly become stronger, become mighty, become thick. Isn't it attractive? Is this potion really that strong? No, not strong at all. After taking it, it just casually doubles combat power. Perfect critical strikes every time you attack. It's not strong at all. But can it really explode clothes? Not only can it explode clothes, in places it should and shouldn't. This potion can make you explode everywhere. Otherwise, why call it a critical strike potion? Slap. Gritting his teeth, Lin put an end to his 17 years of singleness. And after this barrage of information bombing, for a moment, the trading channel fell into a brief silence. Black dots flew over Lin's head, but in the next moment, a change occurred. Countless teleportation lights suddenly appeared outside the shop door, dazzling enough to make one dizzy, and Lin's ears were filled with countless prompts. Dark Giant Rabout, requesting entry into the store. Fallen Minotaur, requesting entry into the store. Succubus Alea, requesting entry into the store. Multi-armed Demon, requesting entry into the store. Without hesitation, Lin chose to allow all. In an instant, countless illusions appeared like a flood from outside the door, and the entire small shop instantly became crowded. Each figure accommodated at least 10 illusions, and every illusion had excitement in its eyes and an extremely eager tone. Boss, is what you said in the information true? Does your store really sell those magical potions? Is there really a top-tier potion that can make one super strong after taking it? Something even our queen can't resist. I want 10 bottles of the critical strike potion. Boss, I need them now. Is it really a top-tier demon hunter's enthusiastic recommendation? Boss, give me 50 bottles. I want to test the effect. Get out of here. I came in first. Boss, give me a bottle. Outrageous. Obviously, I came in first. Boss, all the potions for me. Boss, do you accept payment in flesh? I can come to your place. I'm a very good succubus. For a while, the potion shop that was originally ignored was instantly crowded with numerous hidden perverts from the dark world. Lin sighed. Sure enough, it was really the same as on Earth. If you didn't offer something passionate, no one would be willing to visit you. But evidently, this place was still a pure land. The customers were excited and pure, not disdainful of such low-level promotion methods like those on Earth. It's really a bit of a headache. Lin pretended to be troubled, showing a difficult expression. Everyone, although the potions in our store are indeed genuine, the shop has always been a small-scale operation with limited inventory. Right now, we only have 30 bottles of critical strike potion, and 10 of them are reserved for old customers. This really makes it difficult for me. Lin sighed in difficulty. Seeing Lin's troubled expression, the customers who had swarmed in immediately exploded. Damn, boss, you're making it difficult for what? 4,000 skeleton coins per bottle. Just give them all to me. If you find it difficult, I'll give you an extra 500 coins per bottle. I have plenty of money. Damn, do you think only you have money? 5,000 per bottle. Give me 30 bottles first. If the effect is good, I'll double patronize you in the future. 5,000. Petty, I'll pay 6,000. 7,000. Seeing the situation spiraling out of control, Lin quickly reached out, trying to persuade everyone, don't fight. Although the potions in our store are indeed outstanding, let's shop rationally. Don't waste money recklessly. Earning money is not easy. Pay over there, just transfer the coins. Thank you for watching. Subscribe and enable notifications so you don't miss the next chapter.